All right, guys, welcome back to Sips and Spirits. This is a podcast for those that love spirits of both the alcoholic and spectral kind. I'm your host, Chelsea.
I'm your co-host, Eric. A little disclaimer before we get started. We are not historians nor professional trained mixologists. Any facts or stories presented are from various sources, and we mean no disrespect if something is not 100% accurate. We make no claims that these tales are true. We just found them to be spooky and interesting in nature. Cocktails and spirits are tasted for the first time during episode recording unless noted otherwise. So it's the first time we're trying this thing right here.
Yep, so first time we try the liquor that is here in our thing. And I made this lovely little tasting sheet that you guys will be able to take notes with us. So you head over to our website, sipsandspirits.com, and you go to the show notes of the episode on the website, and you can download that and make your notes as you drink along with us.
I didn't see those notes.
It's a blank sheet. So they can make notes about the drink that they thought, and then you guys can share it with us later.
Okay.
All right. So today we are calling upon a spirit as mysterious as the house that shares its name. We are using the Winchester straight bourbon whiskey to conjure a mint julep cocktail.
There we go.
So we want to preface this by saying we're not big bourbon drinkers to begin with.
No.
Especially, like, I can almost always pick out bourbon in a drink, and I'm like, oh.
I like whiskey. I like scotch. Bourbons and rye.
Not really our thing. So there's a high chance this is going to be a little lower rated on our scale, but so that's why we just picked up their little tiny mini bottles.
They're travel bottlers.
Instead of buying a whole bottle, because we have a feeling we're just not going to enjoy it, or we won't be grabbing another bottle. We could be surprised, but better to not be stuck with something we might not like.
So you ready to try this bad boy straight up?
Oh, just a little bit, right?
Just a little bit. This is about like half an ounce. This is more like 3/4 of an ounce.
I feel like I had my water nearby.
It's behind you?
Is it still behind me?
As last I saw, it was behind you.
Just in case this does not go well. Oh my god. Alright, so we meant to do this in the last episode too, but it totally slipped our mind. So we're going to try. Yeah.
Because we tried it later. Okay. Cheers.
Cheers.
To Winchester.
Oh.
Yep, bourbon.
I mean, it's not actually that bad. But there's just something about a bourbon and how it breathes.
See, to me, the problem with bourbon is like it's super sweet. Like always.
It just tastes like whiskey to me. It actually is not as bourbon-y as I was expecting it to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me look forward to the cocktail.
Yep.
And I did want to share a little bit. I could not find any information about this liquor. It was really, really hard. And apparently it's kind of like a company that mass produces all kinds of liquors, or like companies come to them with a label and then they're like, here's some.
Are you telling me they don't have a distillery at the Winchester house?
No.
Oh.
So, I don't believe there's any connection. I even reached out to this company like, hey, we found your thing and we're doing a podcast. We'd like to get a little bit more information to share with our audience. And didn't hear from them. So, who knows?
It's a mystery.
It is. So, we decided instead to focus on the namesake of the whiskey and do a little bit of a Winchester factoids. And when I say Winchester, I mean the Winchester Mystery House, located in San Jose, California. But I chose the mint julep cocktail because Mrs. Winchester lived during the Victorian era period. Victorian to Edwardian. And I was looking up, like, what kind of cocktails would they be drinking in that time range? And a mint julep was actually a popular drink at the time. So that's why we did mint julep. So our cocktail theme this time is not as much spooky as some other cocktails that we've found, but
I don't think I ever had a mint julep.
I've had the one at Disneyland, which is non-alcoholic, so that's not a good comparison.
I don't think they have bourbon in it.
No, I know they do have liquor ones, but I've had the mint julep at what's that place? That you go and you watch the ships, the boats.
Oh.
Oh man, it's driving me nuts now.
I have no idea. The only place I sit down and watch is Ticket Room.
And they, where you watch the pirates. Blue Bayou. There we go. In the Blue Bayou. I've had the mint julep in the Blue Bayou.
Oh, you just said a restaurant.
It is a restaurant.
No, you just said restaurant.
Oh, I thought I did.
No. I was thinking like where you watch the St. Mary's and the pirate ship.
Oh, no. A restaurant.
Okay.
Where you watch the pirates.
Got
People writing pirates. So,
cheers.
Here's to.
Minty.
Yeah. Not bad though, actually.
Try yours?
Yeah. So we did 2 different versions of the mint julep. We did Tipsy Bartender's recipe, and then we did Alton Brown's recipe. I think I like mine a little better.
Take it. We'll trade.
Okay.
I'll drink your shot
So
later.
mine's the
Elton John.
Alton Brown one.
Alton Brown. My bad.
Elton John. Can you imagine him playing the piano and like pouring cocktails at the same time?
Probably.
He probably would. So yeah, since it's kind of a traditional drink, but it has a little bit of variances in all the recipes, I was like, oh, Tipsy Bartender's a reliable source, but also Alton Brown, because my dad took the time to like show us how to make it by playing the clip of Alton Brown. So I was like, well, we got to pay a little homage to that. And I'm glad we did, because it's not too bad. It's still I feel like the mint definitely brings out the bourbon more in this drink.
I feel like the mint hides the bourbon in mine.
In yours?
Right to my taste buds, I think it feels like it hides it. I mean, like, it's refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if I taste the bourbon like this all the time, I'll be sure. I'll drink it. I think it's like a little lemon, though.
I was thinking a lime.
Or like some zest. Like some citrus.
Yeah.
We got it.
So you said the mint hides it, right?
Yeah. Like, to me, like, I don't taste so much bourbon. Like, it's not as sweet anymore. But,
yeah, so I mean, and they were pretty similar. The major differences was one just called for water and powdered sugar, and then the other called for like soda water or seltzer water and fine sugar. So otherwise everything was the same.
they're the same.
But yeah, actually not bad. I can definitely imagine, especially like here in the Bay Area. Central Valley, when it gets pretty warm, like sipping on this while it's full of like nice ice and not our melted ice because our technical difficulties held us up on recording this before the ice melted.
Mm-hmm. I was saying earlier, like, maybe we should get some dry ice to like make it colder and keep it colder. But then I was like, if we don't wait till it melts and we try to drink, it's going to burn.
Yeah.
It's a bad idea.
That's a drinking hazard. So let's avoid that. So I will be sure to share the recipe for both of these cocktails that we tried. Recipes came from Tipsy Bartender and Good Eats, Alton Brown's Good Eats, and I will share a link to both of those in the show notes if you're interested in mixing up this cocktail yourself. So now jumping on to our liquor facts, which is actually now our Winchester Mystery House facts specifically.
Mystery House.
And even more so talking about the film, because that was kind of, even though we had been aware of the Winchester Mystery House, we lived in and around the Bay Area for majority of our lives, I want to say, for both of us.
I lived in San Jose since like 2006.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated high school Yeah, 2006. And I lived there till I started moving in with you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I knew about it, but I was like I was in the grounds twice before, like before you, and I was like, I'm not paying to go inside here because it just like to me it sounded hokey. It was like, hey, this is kind of dumb.
Right. I feel like we probably both had been exposed just to the whole ghost story aspect of it
Mhm.
and not much beyond that.
Yeah.
But there's actually a whole lot more to it.
E-
And it was really hard to kind of sum up my facts because I could probably just talk about the Winchester Mystery House for forever.
Yep.
But so I started with the the film because that was like the first time I think it kind of piqued our interest because we started doing more research when we were hearing about the film coming out. And then it's like, almost like a local legend, curious to see how they bring it to life and what way they approach it and what they actually use of the actual structure that exists.
Mhm.
So the Winchester film was released in 2018, so it's still sort of recent,
Yeah.
about 3 years. It's a supernatural thriller starring Helen Mirren as the heiress Sarah Winchester. The film plays on the idea that Sarah is haunted by spirits inside her San Jose mansion in 1906.
Ooh.
So it does kind of play on the whole idea of the 1906 earthquake that happens around the time. So the film doesn't say it was the earthquake, but it gives that homage again. It's gonna be my new favorite word this episode.
Oh my.
And I'd like to share most of these facts came from the Winchester Mystery House website about the film. Sharp-eyed Winchester Mystery House fans can spy can spy tour guides and present house staff making cameos in the film. So if you pay close attention, I believe there's like 5 or 6 different people who currently work at the Winchester Mystery House as either tour guides or as people who just do general maintenance of the house that actually make an appearance in the film.
That's cool.
Right? And then when you go to visit, you can see some of the actual costumes used on display in their museum in the gift shop. So the film actually loaned those to them. I think it was supposed to be a temporary thing, but it was still present when we visited early April of 2021 this year. So, and that was really cool to see because like our first visit, they didn't have the museum open at all.
No.
But they did have it the last couple times, and it was neat to look at that stuff.
We would like to do. I would like to add. We would like to add that. At least for the tours in the Winchester House, we've only done the COVID tours.
Yeah, we've only done the COVID version, self-guided
tours.
Just because, like again, we didn't even see the film when it first came out. We probably saw it end of 2019.
Yeah, like middle end.
I want to say we did see it in October or right before then. But it just wasn't on our list of things to do.
I think when it showed up on Netflix or something.
And then when the Winchester Mystery House shut down in April because of COVID, they started having like these specials. So we invested in their Skeleton Key membership because it was a really good deal.
Yeah.
And we're like, we're not that far, and we pass by that area all the time. And we've always talked about going. This would be a great excuse.
Yeah.
To make that happen.
So
yeah. So of course that was during the peak of COVID. So we went in September, and then we've gone in March and April of 2021. So we haven't gotten to experience the true guided tour just yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Soon.
Hopefully soon. So during filming, the actual Winchester Mystery House closed its doors to guests for 72 hours for shooting property exteriors, aerials, and select interior rooms. So some of the footage, especially when it's like the wide shots of the property itself, those are actual footage of what exists today. Yeah. But then the rest of the filming was done in Australia, of all places.
So far away.
Where the filmmaker lives.
Oh, okay.
So, moving on to the house itself, restoration work now replaces construction that went on during Sarah's lifetime. So the restoration started in 2016 when the new owner acquired it, who also happens to be someone who worked for the Walt Disney Company, specifically at Disneyland, before moving on to making Winchester his project. And he has that Disney background, so it totally plays on what magic skills Disney uses for their marketing. So he spent a lot of time working on the renovations, and they became public in May of 2017. As of April 2021, new renovations are still ongoing. So I like that it kind of is almost like that tribute to how Sarah in her lifetime did the constant construction and building of the house. Now there's this constant restoration. Not just a presentation for people to come and visit it, but they're actually doing restorative work, like replacing wallpaper and opening up rooms that weren't open before and making them accessible to guests.
Don't touch the walls.
And then moving on to some fun, spooky facts about the Winchester Mystery House. Harry Houdini actually visited the house in 1924.
Did he escape?
It was it was unknown if he had any spiritual encounters, but he found the house memorable enough that he sent a news clipping of his experience to the owner at the time of the Winchester Mystery House.
So, side note, those of you who don't know, Harry Houdini wasn't only an escape artist, he liked to debunk spooky things.
Yeah, he was a major spiritual debunker. He did not believe in the afterlife and spent a good portion of his time when he wasn't performing debunking.
Wasn't there a movie where
proof.
he showed up to debunk something?
Maybe. That kind of sounds familiar.
Right?
But
anyway.
Hard to say.
There's
so many. We're getting off track.
This is not a Houdini episode.
No. Maybe we'll do that. We'll find a fun magic decor or something and talk about Harry Houdini.
Magica.
But so to pay tribute to that, Winchester Mystery House is presently working on an escape room experience based around Harry Houdini's visit to the Winchester Mystery House. And I'm really, really curious about how that's going to go. I really want to try it.
I'm like, are they going to like tie you up in a straitjacket and dunk you in the tank? And like, okay, escape. It's like, wait, what?
Well, they said it's going to be based upon his visit, which I'm wondering, like, where did they get that information? And it makes me wonder, is that news clipping, like, available of his visit to the Winchester? It makes me want to do more research.
There we go.
But I'm like, I hope they give Skeleton Key members first access to it. And then talking about Sarah herself, there were lots of rumors about ghosts who were killed by the Winchester guns haunting the property, but those rumors didn't really happen until the house moved into new ownership after Sarah's passing. And so to promote people coming, that's where that main rumor started spreading. She never shared any information like that, at least not publicly, so there's no proof that she had that belief that the spirits of people shot by the Winchester guns were haunting the house. There is suspicion that her building project was more likely to make her feel closer to her husband, who had a passion for architecture.
So why only the guns and not like all the other Winchester products? Like people died, like possibly died from. Like I was like, I think one of the products was the roller skates. So like, what if someone was like roller skating and then like, so they have the roller skates and like.
So fun fact, the roller skates were an actual like idea of Sarah Winchester because she really did want to move away from mass producing weapons and bringing more options of not consumerism, but just more safer options for people to
rebrand Winchester name.
She really wanted to rebrand it.
So Winchester, not just rifles.
But and the interesting part I thought about that is not necessarily that she did or didn't believe in ghosts, but from what I was reading, it was more that during that time, death by a gun was just common. It wasn't shocking. So it wasn't like seen as something where it would cause people to come back and haunt you. So that's why they really don't think that that whole idea actually came from Sarah herself, but more like the people who inherited the house or bought the house, they didn't inherit it, um, decided to kind of try and make it more interesting for people to come and visit.
I know the Winchester rifles are cool and probably were like the new like masterpiece when they came out or something. I don't know. I'm not a gun guy. That gun history.
It was like that whole idea of being like a household name.
Yeah.
You know?
But like I wonder like if there's an other like Remington or whatever, like other like Smith and Wesson, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Like if there's like a statistics like Winchester killed 1,000 people. Smith, like whatever other company killed like 1,500. You know, just like like what's the situation like statistics on those numbers like to be like, well maybe not Spooky from Ghost.
I don't know. That's actually a good that would be an interesting like
research
poll to do.
Like research project kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Okay, well, I think that's it that I have for my facts.
What'd you think of this house when you went?
What did I think of the house?
Yeah.
So I thought it was really beautiful. I don't know, but I have a major infatuation with the Victorian era. Their architecture, their fashion, just the design and detail they put into every little thing they did, from just like their handwritten letters to their invites and events and even their like funeral practices. It's really, really fascinating. So actually learning that this house came from that time period and it's supposed to be really well preserved, and it's almost like you get a very special view of a person who was pretty much well ahead of her time. It was unheard of for a woman to inherit so much money and then to like try and give back as much as she could with those finances and kind of have free reign of all that money. Because she inherited, I think it was what, $20 million. She was making $20,000 a day.
Was it 20,000 or 2,000?
I'm pretty sure it was 20,000.
I'll make 20,000 a day. Sheesh.
In royalties from sales of Winchester guns.
I should make guns.
So, I mean, she kept on her staff as long as possible. She paid them well over what was considered the average pay rate at the time, and like provided homes for them. When you visit the property, you can see a lot of the outer buildings that aren't connected to the main house. Those were actually housing places for all of her employees. And then like her construction workers, the people who were helping with doing all the changes all the time, she would give them like lengthy breaks, like 6 months to a year of breaks. So even if construction was rumored to be going constantly, it's not like those specific individuals were constantly working on the house with no breaks. She wasn't like a slave driver pushing people to keep doing this. So she was really innovative, and I would have loved to like sit down and have a conversation with her, but she was extremely private. So there's so little known other than like what they have of public records.
Yeah.
So like the wages and those kinds of things, that's where they get the information from. And like anytime she made, because she loved to do donations to charities, but it was always anonymous. She didn't want to be marked down for what?
Well, you got to think about it. It's like the Winchester name is like, this murderers are like giving us money, but don't want your dirty money.
Yeah, well, she really valued her private life.
Yeah. That's good. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a beautiful house. And if you're going, I would say just don't go in with any of the whole spirit thing in mind. Just go in with looking at all the little fine details of the house, like taking your time looking. This sounds silly, but looking at the doorknobs and the molding and the wallpaper. There's so many neat things that you notice. We started like looking at the locks and stuff and the latches and.
Well, we've been there 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Twice with Little Boo and Monster, and one spires with just the two of us. The times with the children, we just walk around, just kind of like look here and there kind of thing, try to entertain them as best we can. But the time we went by ourselves, we were like very focused on like details, like the big thing that's number 13. Like you start looking at things, you start counting some things. Sometimes 13 pops in so many times.
Yeah, quite a bit more than you realize.
But the interesting thing, I forgot what room we were in, and we were just looking around and we were taking our sweet time. And there was this bathroom-like thing. I think it was a bathroom. Yeah, it was a bathroom. I think it's the crystal room. No. Anyway.
Well, you have to get to your point, so I know where it was.
Well, anyway, so we're there. Chelsea's in the other side of the room. There's a staff member like next to her. Like we're literally like good like 15, 20 feet away from each other. And like I pop like my head over like the banister kind of thing, like because you can't walk through it. So I was like, it's kind of like looking around the corner. And I kid you not. I'm like, her little whispers right here.
Oh yeah, that was in the crystal ballroom.
And I was like,
or bedroom, crystal bedroom.
And I was like, did you say something? It's like, no, I was just looking around like, did you? Okay.
Yeah, no, I think I was so quiet because I was just taking in all the detail.
Kind of thing, And I was like, okay, that was interesting. That was cool. I'm like, and then like I was like, did I hear something? Did I actually hear something? I was like, and then when I first heard it, I could have told you what it was. But then as I kept thinking, I was like, did I hear something? I don't know. That was cool, kind of thing. I was like, interesting.
So there is a possibility.
There's a possibility.
I mean, Sarah did die in the house. Maybe it's not the spirits of people who were murdered by the Winchester weapons, but maybe it's Sarah.
Anyway, my turn.
It's your turn.
My turn. So.
I'm excited.
Would you rather?
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot about Would You Rather.
So, I know you mentioned before that you would never do a ghost hunt.
Oh,
Okay. But let's say you had to do a ghost
hunt. Okay. I'm getting goosebumps already just thinking about
it. Would you rather do a ghost hunt in an abandoned prison or a ghost hunt in an abandoned medical facility like an insane asylum, a hospital, etc., etc.?
That's so hard. That's a hard one. Oh, that's really hard. At first I was like gonna go with prison because I was like, I feel like there's more deaths that happen in a hospital. But then you don't know what kind of people are the people who died in the prison. So I'd probably go with hospital. I think I'm gonna go with hospital.
Hospital? Okay.
Yeah.
Or medical facility?
Yeah, or medical facility. Well, okay. You do have to, I should clarify because you did say medical facility. Like, are we talking insane asylum or are we talking about a hospital? Because those are two different things.
They are very different things, but I feel like if you start separating them out, like if you start to like be like either that or that one kind of thing, it becomes like a completely different question. Because like a medical asylum, people are being treated, quote unquote, versus a hospital, they're being healed.
And there were so many asylums that just had so much mistreatment and deaths from it's like it's a sad suffering versus like I think in a hospital some of it's sad and painful or unexpected, but then some of it was just they were prepared. They knew it was coming. That's why they were there at the
Let's go with hospital then.
hospital. Because I don't know. I think I would still go with medical facility, I think. Either one. I would still go with it.
As the thing with me with prisons is like I find them interesting and like the whole like nature of that sounds weird. I think the anger in the prison will be like more active. So like if I'm looking to find something, I feel like in the prison I can find it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But if I'm looking to like experience
I'm looking to not have any experience, so whichever one's going to be less, which I think probably the medical facility.
I think, and if anything, like the spirits you see there, if you see anything, they might not all be malevolent.
Because I feel like a prison already has some sort of energy to it, even an active prison.
It's just like a stigma.
Yeah, there's just this, feeling. So, I'd go with the medical facility, no matter which kind.
Okay.
And what about you?
Like I said, like if I wanted to like find something or like make myself believe I found something.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a prison would be the place to go because of the stigma, like the negative energy. Whether somebody who died in there was actually guilty or not. If they're guilty, they're gonna be all remorseful, like I'm mad they caught me. If they were not guilty, they're remorseful, like I spent my life here even for something I didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
So both of them are negative situations,
Yeah.
regardless of what it is.
That's true.
People who die at a hospital, like you said, or in a medical facility, are either there because they know they're gonna die, or because the doctor was like, "Hey, let's try something new."
You're really good with these would you rather's.
I think about them a lot.
Clearly.
Kind of thing. But yeah, so that was like, okay, that was interesting. But yeah, if so, like, if I want to find something,
Mm-hmm.
or like I said, make myself find something in prison. If I want to experience something, which I think is different from finding something, kind of like get like a feeling of like something like there, but it's not really there, kind of thing. Then the hospital or medical would be the route,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. But yeah.
Okay.
So, I found some stories about from the Winchester house. Some of them were posted in newspaper articles. Some of them were found on Reddit. Just all over the place, kind of thing. So I found a few of them and see what you think.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Ready. Okay. This story is called "The Hall of Fires." You know where that is, right?
The Hall of Fires?
Yes.
Yes.
The Hall of Fires. Some employees who worked at the mansion for Mrs. Winchester are said to have stayed on after they have passed on. There have been footsteps heard shuffling to and from the Winchester rooms. Her servants. There is a black hair apparition pushing a wheelbarrow spotted on the ground sometimes. Perhaps that laborer is work. Oh, I wrote that wrong. Sorry. Perhaps that labor is what workers today have encountered in the Hall of Fires, named for its many fireplaces. Back before the mansion was open to the public, a worker was on a ladder. He felt a tap on his shoulder, turned around, and no one was there. The worker refocused his attention to his task. That's when he felt what seemed like a hand pressing against his back. He was still the only one in the room, but not for long. That worker got out there fast, leaving the elderly war laborer alone to handle the job. Doo-doo-doo.
Oh man, I would not be happy if someone left me behind.
Well, there's no one there. He's saying the ghost is there.
Oh, leaving the ghost. I thought he meant there was someone else
No,
working with him, but he felt something.
He was the only one there. Somebody touched his back, and it's like, whoa.
Oh. And how many fireplaces are in the Hall of Fires?
I don't remember. 13? There we go. 13.
Is it 13 or 7? I think it's 13, though.
I think it's 13.
That's the magic number.
Magic number. This next story is called Sarah's Sealed Room. So you mentioned earlier the 1906 earthquake.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So it's an earthquake that did a damage on San Francisco and also the Winchester house. When you actually go there, you can actually see pictures of things that were damaged. Like, I don't remember you can see it before, but you can definitely see the after of it. And whatnot.
They did have comparison pictures of a lot of the local what's that? Your public service offices and stuff.
Yeah, so I was
the post office before and after
kind of thing.
And just the picture of all of San Francisco on fire and everything. It was a terrible earthquake. I'm sure most people have heard of it, even if you don't live in California. And I think that's what makes a lot of people nervous to live in California.
Actually, that was the first I've heard of it since when I went to the house.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because the one earthquake always heard about is the 89 earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Well, because that was the big one in our time.
The big one.
But so prior to that was the 1906 earthquake.
The big one. Anyway, after the earthquake, in fact, actually, Miss Winchester was trapped in the room until her workers were able to set her free. Deeply shaken by her experience, Mrs. Winchester had the room sealed. It stayed that way until recently when the room was opened and added to the tours. On one of the tours, a guide gathered participants in the room to explain the history and point out the objects found inside more than 100 years after being sealed. The guide heard a loud sigh in the hallway and went outside to bring in the straggler. He didn't find anyone there. What happened? Sorry. But she did see a small ghostly form gliding around the corner. The guy quickly followed. She still didn't see anyone, and she heard yet another sigh. Perhaps Miss Winchester had used the sealed room as a refuge from tourists.
Okay, really creepy. Just like if you were working there and you think there's someone who just didn't join the group, and then you want to make sure you don't get people just
Yeah.
lost in the house, but then you still can't find it, but you keep hearing it and shuffling. Yeah, and if I was Sarah's ghost and I was like, oh, nice, I have this whole room, no one's ever gonna open it,
Now
and
they
then
own.
they open it, I would be sighing too
Mhm.
down the hallway.
But yeah, back to the whole like not leaving any stragglers behind. It's like you don't want them to like mess up any property or
Right.
accidentally damage it.
Yeah, and, like, when we did the self-guided tour, they do have people staff along the
Mm-hmm.
way because, like, they don't even want you touching the wallpaper because it's so old and it's
Nope.
this special kind of wallpaper. It's, like, three-dimensional. You can't get it anymore. They
I
don't
want to touch
make
it,
it.
but they won't let me.
But, wow, and they found, like, items in there and stuff?
Hmm.
Wow, that's
Like
crazy.
it, like after she pretty much got out, they just closed it off.
Well, when I was reading about the renovations, I heard that they opened that room, and when you're doing the self-guided tour, you can kind of see into it from some of the windows that are in that earthquake room that has the door that leads to nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but on the self-guided tour, you can't go in that room.
Mm-hmm.
So Sarah got a little bit of respite
Yeah,
during COVID.
just getting some sleep again. One last story. This one's from a staff member found on Reddit. The creepiest moment I've had at the house was this one time I was leading a group tour. There was this one door in a part of the tour that kept opening and closing. An attendee whispered that it was probably a fan pushing the door. I knew since I've seen the room before the fan was facing away from the door. I also knew there couldn't be anyone there because normally we don't have people in there except on Wednesday when we send a cleaning crew to dust around. And today was Tuesday. I heard another guest mention maybe the breeze passing by, but the door in that room leads to another part of the house, no currents passing through. Still never found out what it was, but to sprinkle some more eerie facts to that room was that this room is the same room that Miss Winchester passed away.
Oh, her bedroom.
Yes.
Did they say which door?
Yes, Miss Winchester. And like I was reading the comments and people were like, oh, but like even the fans like not facing it, it's gonna be like
There's
just
always someone
it's
who's a
still
downer.
costing it. It's really funny because they were like the window of the fan could still like pull in closer. And it's like wait, I talked to my fan guy, that couldn't happen. So definitely ghost.
So you had someone naysaying and then going, well, wait, I checked my facts.
I take somebody who knows better and like they're like, no, just kidding.
Wow. Oh, see?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so maybe I'm right. Maybe Sarah is still haunting.
That little lady.
Yeah. Guys, I think Sarah Winchester and I would be big besties.
I don't know. You talk a lot.
Well, who's to say she didn't talk a lot? She was just very private with her life.
Yeah.
But she did have her niece, Daisy, who lived with her
Mm-hmm.
almost the whole time. And Daisy went with her body when they returned it back to Connecticut to be with her husband.
Not in the casket.
She didn't ride in the casket, but she rode in the hearse carriage.
I was like, with the body, like, wait, no, not in the casket.
I know. I was like, wait, you threw me off. You're good at that.
Well, yeah.
Mm. So maybe she had close company,
Mm-hmm.
and so maybe she chatted up that company.
Maybe.
I don't know.
It could be.
There's so many mysteries.
Mysteries. Yeah.
Those were all good stories.
I did like him. Like, I liked the first one because I was like, okay, I've been to the Hall of Fires. And then I was like, okay, like, somebody working there is like, nope, I'm peacing out kind of thing.
And it's a weird room. Like
Mhm.
I know there's some people who really like it. I'm not crazy about it. I don't know. There's something about the arrangement. It's a little
Yeah.
odd. Cause it's like it's almost like it angles up a
Mhm.
bit. There's no steps, but it feels like it's at different levels. The cats are playing with the door and
Yes.
thought
I saw him go. I was like, don't play with the door. Don't play with the door.
and then it's like kind of it's not too narrow, but it feels tight.
Just want to go narrow staircases.
Which is like so funny because you're coming from like the conservatory with the pretty plants and all the windows, and then you go into this like dark room filled with all these different fireplaces.
Mm-hmm.
And all the fireplaces are designed differently too. And it's a little like dimmer, even though like at one end of the room there's like 6 windows. I don't know. It's not my favorite, but that would creep me out.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But I could totally see like staff going in there after a hard day, like outside working in the wintertime, like coming in to warm up.
Yeah. Well, I don't really know if that was like in the Hall of Fires when they were working, but they were working somewhere. So probably that's what they reference it to it, kind of thing. But yeah, no, like just imagine being on a ladder and like somebody touching your back. like in itself, if somebody were you're like, what are you doing? I'm in a ladder.
Well, I mean, maybe they're to make sure you're not falling over.
Don't put 2 people in a ladder. That's not good.
Oh, well, I'm just thinking, because that's not like a high ceiling room. Like,
well, you're probably thinking they're working from the outside in.
No, I was thinking they're inside and maybe like touching up like the paint in the corner or something. And then someone's like up behind them, puts their hand on their back. Now, if it was like at your level on your back, that's even creepier. I mean, these were all great stories. They all gave me goosebumps. They weren't like bad, but they were just like eerie. If let's say they were all true.
Yeah, you know, it's like
to have had those experiences.
You walk around the house and it's like you never know. It's just like a cool. That was funny. One of the time we were just the two of us. The family behind us had their.
Oh, that was so cute.
What's that? Like a.
So it was a mom and a dad and their daughter, and she was like I think early college.
Yeah.
Maybe late high school. She was younger, and on her she had an app on her phone, and they were like doing temperature readings in every room because she totally was all about the whole it being haunted.
Yeah.
And they visit it all the time. It was so cute.
I was like, that's cool
to hear them, and we'd end up like chatting with them a little bit.
Kind of thing, yeah. So that, like you know, like you can go in there with the whole like aspect of like spooky or not. Like if anything, like you can go in there and just look at it as an architectural like masterpiece. Like this is like an architect's dream kind of thing.
Well, and I feel like we haven't sparked the conversation with employees there, but we've heard other people try and spark it, the whole haunted aspect, and I feel like they're really respectful on either end of what you are going there for. They're not totally going to shut you down. Like at least from what we've experienced witnessing other people.
Like I've heard overheard some conversation where like, nah, it's not haunted at all. And I was like, let me tell you something.
I've got some stories for you.
There's a room in here I don't go into anymore.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I was like, I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait to go to the basement. Or the lower floor. What is it called?
I want to go to the upper floor to the witch's cap.
Yeah. That's scary. Basement where all the dead bodies are at. That's what I want. Anyway.
All right.
That was fun.
That was super fun. Great stories, babe. Are we on our last call? Is it time for last call?
Time for last call.
Flew by.
It did.
It always flies by, but it in a good way.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
So we hope you guys were having fun too. Thanks for sipping along with us. We want to keep those spirits flowing, so please be sure to show your support by reviewing and subscribing to our podcast. If you enjoyed this show, be sure to share it with others. Eric put it great last time when you were like, how to share it. When you're telling people, like, hey, there's this couple.
Oh, yeah.
They're making drinks. I loved it. It was great. Like, I almost like wrote it down as the script.
Talk to your friends like, hey, there's this couple. They're like, you know, talking to each other about like spooky stuff. They're making cocktails. They're drinking, having a good time.
Yeah.
If you like that kind of stuff, go listen. If you don't, still go listen.
Right. And I feel bad because I think that was your part. I totally stole your thunder.
It's okay.
Well, can you do the next?
No, because I don't know the website. I don't know where or how to find us. I can't find myself half the time.
Okay, well, we are streaming on all podcast hosts, platforms, not hosts. We have one host, but our host is distributing us to all podcast channels and platforms. So you can find us just about anywhere, Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
etc.,
Google Podcasts, etc. But we also have a website, sipsandspirits.com, where you can also connect with our social media accounts if you feel too lazy to search it in on each
Individual.
platform. But if you have a particular platform you're looking for, you can find us on every platform under @sipsandspirits on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And our YouTube channel is Sips and Spirits.
No TikTok yet.
We're sticking with those 4 for now, and then we'll see. I don't know if TikTok's exactly in our formula at the moment. So anyways, we hope that we get to catch you around the bar next time. Thanks for sipping by.
Cheers.